lucky. With the help of the local cops, I got the guy, a hoodlum named William Yorty, with a past record of muggings. He'd fallen for life, but he'd been lucky not to get the gas chamber. The case itself wasn't important, except that because of it, I met Dane. Got to know him and like him. Dane is a real estate broker in Seacliff, and worth upwards of $500,000, but you never know what to look at him. Half the time he knocks around town in jeans and t-shirt, and the rest of the time he sits on the beach. The guy had, so far as I know, never written a letter in his life, but hardly a week went by that I didn't get a postcard from him. Maybe just, "Hello, you dead?" when I hadn't dropped him a line for a month or so. I read this morning's card again. "There's beer in the refrigerator, bourbon in the ice trays, and a blonde for defrosting. Come on down and have a highball. There's crooks all over the landscape, uglier than you are. Red Cross needs blood, and we've got a drive on, so bring your gat." I stuck the card in my coat pocket, swept the rest of the mail, still sealed, into a desk drawer, then opened the bottom drawer and took out my gat and harness and strapped them on. Dane's card was like a fresh breeze from the sea. I was anxious to get away. Outside and 1 floor below on Broadway, streetcars clanged, cars honked. 1 million people were rushing around frantically, hurrying to appointments, bolting down quick lunches, doing 1 million unimportant things. I could almost feel tension unwind inside me as I thought of Seacliff, nestled in the arc of a natural bay, with the blue stretching out beyond it to the horizon, and of Dane, who right now was probably sitting on his sun porch drinking a cold beer. I got up and headed for the door. The phone rang. Automatically, I started back and stopped. "Nuts to you, you mechanical monster," I said, and went out, locking the door behind me. At the end of the hall outside my office, a cute little gal named Hazel sits at the PBX switchboard, handling incoming and outgoing calls. Now she waved at me and said, "Shell, you got a call." I stopped. "Ain't no detectives here, sweetie. All gone to the beach for beer and sunshine." "But this is from the beach, from Seacliff." "Seacliff? I'll take it here." I said hello, and a man said, "Shell, this is Emmett. Can you get down here right away?" "Sure, Em. I'd already started. You almost missed me." "Can you get here by 2 this afternoon?" I looked at my watch. "Sure, what's up?" "Your card didn't make things sound like hell was popping." "It wasn't when I wrote it. But it is now, I think. Shell, remember what we talked about last time you were down? Mobsters investing big money in legitimate operations? Well, I think that's happening here. And something else just came up. You remember Ed Whist? I met him at your place, didn't I? Dinner? Yes. He drowned a couple of days ago, but I just now found out about it. I don't think he drowned accidentally. That's the main reason I'm calling. I'll explain everything when you get here. Bring your pop gun. I've got it on, and I'm practically there. I said so long, told Hazel to expect me when I got back, and left. Driving toward the beach in my convertible cad with the top down, I thought about what Dane had said. He wasn't the excitable type. Usually took things easy. There hadn't even been any of our usual banter on the phone. Something pretty big had to be going on from the way he'd talked and sounded. The last time I'd seen him was 6 months ago. The conversation he'd mentioned had been about the Syndicate, that not-so-loosely knit organization of criminals and murderers, the existence of which is so vigorously denied by the Syndicate. Dane had been around enough so that I didn't have to argue with him, as I'd had to argue futilely with others who couldn't believe such a criminal network could exist in the USA. But even he didn't realize the extent of gangster infiltration into political and union circles, public and private life, and legitimate industry the way I did. Just before 2 p.m., I turned off Highway 101, and in a few more minutes, got my first glimpse of Seacliff below me, white and neat at the edge of the ocean. Dane lived in a big white house on Seacliff Drive, the wide road that follows the natural curve of the bay. Most of the houses there have their backs to the street and living rooms facing the ocean, but Dane had switched his around so that the living room was next to the street and his bedroom and den were on the far side, built right out over the stretch of smooth sand that came up under the sun porch. He liked to sleep with the breakers pounding practically in his ear. I parked in the driveway and walked alongside the house to its front, the breeze from the sea cool on my face. I figured Dane would be sitting on the sun porch with a beer in his hand. He was. When he saw me, his sun-browned face lit up and he said, "Hide your wives, the Marines have landed." "The ex-Marines. How are you, Em?" He leaned over the porch railing to shake my hand. A big man, gray-haired.